Welcome back. This is the VSiN Best Bets Preakness Special. Femi Abebefe alongside Shaun King. We're hanging out at the South Point Hotel and Casino. And joining us right now to help us wrap up the show, we bring in horse racing expert. You can see him on racingdudes.com. You can also see him here as a VSiN contributor. It's the one and only Mike Somich. Mike, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon. Couple weeks ago, you loved Mage. We all won off of your knowledge of Mage. It was a fantastic Derby day. What do you like going into the Preakness this upcoming weekend?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun a couple weeks ago. Hopefully can replicate some of that success. Very different betting race this time. I thought Shaun brought up a great point earlier. You got to start out with, can you beat the favorite? And if you can't, you got to figure out how to create some value around that favorite. And for me, you go back, you watch that Derby. One of the most impressive parts about Mage, he did it all himself around the far turn. It wasn't Castellano really riding him. All the other jockeys were going hard on the horse, and Castellano was just kind of in cruise control, only hit him once down the stretch. It makes me feel like there's a better chance he comes back and is able to replicate that race, or at least close to it, here in the Preakness this weekend. And I think it takes 90 to 95% of that Derby effort to be able to beat this field. It's not a phenomenal field top to bottom, and a lot easier spot than the Derby was a couple weeks ago.
So obviously, it sounds like you like Mage slightly. When you're trying to create value in a small field like this, do you normally hammer the exacta component, or do you extend to tries and supers?
Well, I'm looking for races that play into it, that you can get value from either a double perspective, a pick three perspective, things like that, or I'm trying to find a way to absolutely hammer in exacta and then find ways to play very short superfectas. I think that's the most effective way to do it. For me, when you look at the pace of this race, I think National Treasure controls it. I don't think First Mission wants the lead. I think National Treasure is just faster than Coffee with Chris. And I think he hangs around for a long time. You guys talked about the Bob Baffert Revenge Tour. When you look at First Mission on the outside, he beat Arabian Lion by a nose in the Lexington last time. Well, Arabian Lion is on the undercard of this. He's not in the Preakness. Baffert thinks National Treasure is the better of those two horses. That's the one he's sending here, and he's adding blinkers back. This is the third time we're going to see National Treasure in blinkers. The first time was in his maiden breaking score, where he went gate to wire. And if you look at who he faced after that, Cave Rock twice, 3 other Bafferts in one race, and 2 just dead sprinters in the fifth race, he's never had a chance to get the lead since then. Drawing that one post, I think National Treasure gets the lead pretty easily here and sets a tepid pace. And if so, he can hang around for a very long time. I do think Mage is just better than him, though. And if we can come close to replicating that Derby, I think Mage gets the job done. I agree with Chris as well. I'm not swallowing even money, 6 to 5 on Mage. I think that's a little bit crazy after 15 to 1. But if we can sit there and we can get 7 to 1, 8 to 1 on a cold 3-1 exacta, I think there's a ton of value there.
Yeah, it's interesting because I like National Treasure's Breeders' Cup Juvenile, where he ran third behind Cave Rock and Forte. Forte actually won the race. And I sit here and I'm like, man, this could have been one of the most special Preaknesses ever if Forte and Practical Move and Angel of Empire and Two Fields had all showed up. If one of the long shots happens to win, which one do you give the best shot? I know Red Route Run, I thought ran a good race in the Rebel. Blazing Sevens, of course, with Chad Brown. I'm not sure he's going to like this. Well, outside of the favorites, is there anybody else you think that could sneak into the exacta?
So if you want to get a little kooky, the horse that I like at a price here is Perform. If you go back and you watch his last race, just a world of trouble, and was weaving through horses, had to check a couple times, still able to get the job done. And an aggressive placement here from Shug as well, a trainer who's not known for aggressively placing horses. To throw him into the Preakness here means that he thinks there's a lot of upside. He thinks this horse can run a lot better, and the numbers aren't good because of the trouble. But if you had a clean trip, that buyer figure would be much better, and he would not be 15 to 1 on this board. My big issue with Red Route 1, who I think is highly likely to hit the board, he's just going to be too far back, and he's allergic to getting his picture taken. I mean, we saw him win last time, but that was against a lot worse horses, and now he's back up with the top-level competition, and he's going to be off the screen. And this pace could be slow, and that is a tough way to try and get into the winner's circle. However, I think he makes a ton of sense if you're looking at that superfecta in those 3rd and 4th spots, especially getting a 10 to 1 price there.
You know, it's interesting. I call those horses friend zone. They like to be in the friend zone.
We're speaking with Mike Somich, horse racing expert. You can check him out over at racingdudes.com, also a contributor here at VSiN. So what's the official trifecta or the exacta here for the Preakness for you? I'm assuming Mage being on top.
Yeah, I'm going to key on Mage here. I think that he is the best horse. I think we're going to see a horse go for the Triple Crown. I think he loses the Belmont as well, so a little sneak peek there. I think that 1.5 miles is going to be awfully tough for Mage. I like National Treasure in second. That's how I'm going to create value. I think if you're able to get first mission out of that first and second spot, that's going to add some value to the exacta, add some value to the try, add some value to the super. So I'm going to play a cold 3-1 exacta. It's probably going to be my biggest bet in the Preakness, hoping to get somewhere in, like I said, that 7 to 10 to 1 range on that 3-1 exacta. Then I'm going to come back with a superfecta where I'm going to play 3 Mage on top, the 1 National Treasure in second. And then in that third and fourth spots, I'm going to play the 5 Red Route 1, the 6 Perform, and the 8 First Mission, and hope we can get the 2 prices in third and fourth and really kind of balloon up this superfecta by running out both First Mission and Blazing Sevens from it.
There we go. So I see Shaun scribbling down the numbers here real quick, like we all have been doing. With the analysis that's been coming out of Mike Somich there, we definitely should write all this stuff down here. I know you said that you like some of the undercard bets because I mean we have the Black Eyed Susan coming up on Friday. We have the undercard all throughout the day over at Pimlico. What else do you like here this upcoming weekend?
Yeah, Black Eyed Susan wise, I think this is a really interesting race. Look, FaZe has done nothing wrong, right? 7 to 5 in the morning line, going to go off at 4 to 5, somewhere in that range. But the last 5 or 6 years, these California fillies are just not as good as the East Coast fillies. And when you look at who she has faced, and Tell Me No Lies has run second to her in the last 2 races, and Tell Me No Lies ran 12th in the Oaks. I just don't think that this horse should be 7 to 5 coming in here. I like the 4 Merlaza quite a bit. I like the 10 Taxed a little bit. There's 6 to 1 and 15 to 1 on the morning line. So I think playing the 2 of them into Mage is another way to create value with Mage in that daily double. So I like the 2 of them. If you look at the 5th race on the card, my best bet, 3 to 1 right now on the morning line. We'll see if we get anywhere near 3 to 1. I'm hoping, honestly, for 2 to 1 here. But White Beam for Chad Brown, going to be second time here in the U.S. Last time lost to Evie Jets, who went gate to wire. Evie Jets went 22-3 for the final quarter mile of that race. Normally, you're going to see around 24 seconds, so very, very fast. White Beam almost caught her being 4 lengths behind. So went almost sub 22 in that last quarter of a mile. It was a phenomenal race. It doesn't look as good on paper as it actually does when you watch the replay. So I like White Beam in the, that's the 5th or 7th race on the card on Saturday quite a bit. And if you go to the 9th, I like a horse at a little bit of a price. Gunning, the 6th horse, 6 to 1 on the morning line. There's 10 horses in this field, and there are 8 speed horses. Gunning is the one who wants to sit right behind them. So you have a horse whose, again, numbers aren't as good as some of the other horses, but her running style fits this field perfectly. So it's a McPeak horse, Flavian Pratt aboard. Like I said, you're getting 6 to 1 on the morning line on the 6 Gunning in the 9th.
You know, it's interesting with FaZe, you mentioned And Tell No Lies, but also Pride of the Nile, one of the horses that she beat that gave her a really tough run. Got exposed in Kentucky as well. I'm really going to focus on the Black Eyed Susan Preakness double. I love Merlaza the 4. I'm going to give you the 7 as well because Brad Cox has 2 horses in the Black Eyed Susan. And I found out with Cox, don't let him trick you. Because a lot of times the higher odds horse actually wins for him. And I love Tax. I heard Tax is working up a storm down there at Pimlico. And I'm going to take those 3 horses in the Black Eyed Susan and put them in a double to the 1 and the 3 in the Preakness and see if we can make some money that way.
Yeah, I love that idea. We talk about Taxed. Wet Paint beat Taxed the last time. There was kind of some rumors coming out of Kentucky that the Oaklawn fillies specifically didn't like the track at Churchill Downs. So I'm willing to kind of excuse Wet Paint. And if you say Wet Paint was that short of a price in the Oaks, and now you're getting the horse that ran second to her at 15 to 1 against a horse I can poke some pretty good holes into, I think there's a ton of value there. I like your 7. Angel of Empire was actually the other Brad Cox in the Risen Star, winning at a nice price down there. And don't completely chuck the 1 either. I think the 1's a little bit interesting in the Black Eyed Susan as well. That race is wide open. If you ask me which was the better betting race, I think that's the better betting race. So I wouldn't be shocked if FaZe misses the board completely there, which would create some massive tries and supers.
Wow.
I agree. I'm more excited for tomorrow than I am for Saturday. I really am. I think the Black Eyed Susan is going to be humongous because I'm with you. I don't know that FaZe hits the board. The only reason I won't throw out is because I know Baffert's he's on a world tour right now. So he's trying to regain his status as top dog. So I know she'll be ready to run.
Awesome stuff, as always. Excellent from Mike Somich. You can check him out over at racingdudes.com, horsing race expert, also here at VSiN contributor. Mike, we appreciate you, man, taking the time to speak with us.
Great
and
stuff,
obviously,
Mike.
Good luck with the bets coming up later on this weekend.
Thank you very much, guys. It's a full 2 days, 14 races Friday, 14 Saturday, a ton of pick 5s. It's going to be a phenomenal 2 days from Pimlico. Looking forward to it.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.